on the way to Amsterdam to visit the graphic designer Hansje van Halem. Hansje van Halem is a graphic designer and typographer who's blurring the boundaries between type and image. You have to see what she's doing. It's interesting that it really feels so free and improvised, at the same time really well organized and prepared. Mm-hmm. How do you work?
It's more like playing games, like what happens if I start drawing a line and drawing around it and around it and around it, or what happens if I make a grid around in the space around the letter, and what if I connect all the lines. So it's I think it's these questions or curiosities I have on the technical level. I started drawing letters just manually on the computer with a mouse pen drawing, and then at a certain time I thought, it would be nice to continue drawing, but then I got these blobs which were illegible, and that way I developed just making patterns. But then patterns are like, if you consider design as a game, then the rules are not so strict for making a pattern, because if it's pretty, it's good enough. And I think the game for type design or letter shapes are much more exciting, because then the rules are tighter, because is it still a letter, is it still legible? So, and I also like to play with distance. So if you have a poster, for instance, then if you're very close, you just think, oh, these are just some lines, and if you step further away, letters appear. And I think these visual possibilities of drawing and using the distance and having things visually become a letter, but actually just being some lines, to me that's like something that I cannot wrap my head around, and just continue on finding out how it really works. That's kind of how I design. Of course, the exhibition was a great moment to publish the book. The way that I worked on the exhibition is also sampling or reusing material that I'd made before, putting it into a different context. So in a way it has a similar way of working. The great part about being a graphic designer is that people ask you questions, and those questions are mainly the rules. And there you have to fit in with either its time, the budget, the usability. So those are my rules nowadays. Yeah. And by having developed a certain style, people come to me because they really want you to do whatever I do. So I think my rules are much less than other graphic designers might experience them. They were really telling me, this is typography, this is the way you should do it, at least at that time, and now it's really different. I was just trying to kick the borders and kick the rules, and at Rietveld there were hardly any rules, so I had to define my own things to kick against. I think the best thing I could do in Rietveld is to become a very traditional typographer. So there I found out, I like serif type, and I really dug into finding the best serif types, and was very good in doing traditional typography. And maybe the thing I kicked against is that I was not using Helvetica, which was the tradition there. And I got an email on a Saturday from the director of Lowlands saying, I want to visit your studio and as soon as possible. And then he just said, on the space I'm sitting right now, and said, I want you to do the entire identity. And I'm like, okay, I thought you were asking for a flag, maybe, something small. Because before I was always making work that I could do by myself, and it would take a lot of time to repeat it. And this was the first time that also other people had to work with it. Then I remembered that I talked to Just van Rossum once, and he said, do you know, we can do a lot of stuff with your type. And I was so honored about this invitation, but also shy to agree to come, because I had no topic. And then I remembered, like, hey, this might be the moment to work with him. I was explaining my rules, and then the next time he came and he already had the basic script. And now with the tool that Just built for me, I just type in the word and I press run, and then I have an image, and then if I don't like it, I change it again, and we built in all these extra features of changing the stroke, the stroke width individually, the horizontal and the vertical. So it's amazing that the way he described it is he's been industrializing my type system, and I thought, that's something that's possible, and now I see so much possibilities.